Hey everyone, Jones here, and welcome back. So in my last video, I gave a brief rundown of my whole history as Jones, and that's all stuff that I will elaborate on in future videos. Today though, I kind of wanted to give a brief history again of everything else, of kind of the rest of my life. This is kind of what makes up my whole story. And not all of it is good. Actually, I would say most of it is bad. But I do kind of want to talk about this briefly, because I mentioned my story, and, if you don't know what it is or what to expect, why care, right? So I kind of just want to talk about myself a bit more. So, where to start, really? A lot of my life is mostly typical, or at least I thought it was. Pretty much up through high school. And then it was college was when I was on my own for the first time in my life. Yeah, so I went to somewhere 200 miles away, like super far from home, and it was awesome. It was the first time in my life where I actually kind of got to kind of really be on my own and think for myself. I went to college for 5 years, studying computer science. It was a degree that I told myself since I was a kid that this was definitely what I wanted to do. For sure, certain, yes, absolutely. Even though I didn't know what coding was at the time. Hell, I didn't even know what code was until like my first day of college. But I was so convinced this is what I wanted to do. And so I studied a degree that, as you can imagine, in the end, I realized I didn't really care for. And I didn't really think about any other thing, didn't really consider any other, career or interest or anything. So I had no direction, no nothing. Didn't know where to go with my life. I tried to get something out of college, but I couldn't find anything. Software is really more for the sort of people that do it in their free time, that dream in it. That was never me. It was just kind of an academic thing to do. Never a passion. So I was never able to find a software job. I ended up working part-time at a Michael's arts and crafts store for what ended up being 5 years. I did eventually manage to find a really good office job, but I was only there for 2 months because that's a whole story too. My supervisor was very, very egotistical in a way, I guess is the right word. I'm not really sure, but I basically kind of got on his bad side a couple of times, and he made it an excuse to get me fired. My mom kept nagging me to go back to school, go get my master's, which I told her I didn't want to do. I didn't care about it. I didn't care about computer science. But she just pushed and nagged, and until she finally gets her way, like she always does. And I went to school, and then I dropped out a month later. But I didn't tell anybody that I dropped out. So I spent 3 years maintaining this lie to my family, to everyone in my life, that I was in grad school, that I was, studying stuff. And I did a really good job keeping this lie up. Did my research. And that all came to a head, come graduation day, when they found out. That was one of, if not the worst day of my life. And so, I had no one in my life, no one trusted me. My family didn't trust me, and, why would they? Why should they? I had no friends. I had no direction. I had no way of getting out of the situation that I was in. I I fell into what I call the dark place. It was by far the lowest point I'd ever reached in my life. And it's when I got this. Well, it's when I started hearing the voice. That's what I call it. And the voice was this thing that just kind of followed me around, and it felt like it was always over my shoulder. Just tell me constantly how I messed up. Oh, my life was over before it really even started. Here I am, mid-20s, and my life is already fucking over. What's the point? I've tried to get a better job. I've tried to get out of my current situation, but I can't. Nothing ever seems to work. I'm not gonna get out. I'm never going to get out. What's the point? Right? What's the point? Yeah, please don't think I'm crazy. I really did, and still do actually, have an honest to God voice in my head that talks to me. Having no one in my life because I didn't have friends, because my family didn't trust me, didn't want me in their life anymore. I had no direction. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to be. And even if I did know, I had no way out. I had no real skills because I went and studied a fucking major that I didn't care about. I was stuck. I was trapped where I was, and I wasn't gonna get out. Being in the dark place, listening to the voice, because it's all I had. It's the only thing that spoke to me. As you can imagine, suicide was something that I thought about quite a lot. But it wasn't something that I ever seriously considered. I think it was because of a stupid promise made back in college. I really don't know. But I just kept living this way, miserably. I'd wake up first thing in the morning and the voice would be there talking to me. I'd go into my 4 or 5 a.m. job at Michael's and just cry my eyes out until we opened. I barely ate, barely slept. Falling asleep was impossible because I was still crying. Because I had no one. Because I had nothing. But I, at some point realized that I couldn't keep living like this. It's funny, I used to like a lot of depressing songs, just because I liked how, dark and... I just like them. I like the sad songs, but... In the Dark Place was kind of when all of the songs made sense. It's like, oh my god. I understand what each and every one of these words mean. And there was a band that I recently discovered. And at the time, I thought they were just kind of a really cool, kind of punk rock sounding band. But no, being in the dark place and listening to them because I wanted to, escape in my music. Like all of a sudden, like I could hear meaning in the songs. I could hear a message saying that, yeah, things are shit, but we can get better. Let's get better. And that band has helped me out a lot. They were about helping people, about saying, yeah, things are messed up, but we can get better. Let's get better. So I did. I mean, it wasn't, that easy, but. So the past 2.5 years that I've been Jones, that I mentioned last video that, I spent that time, doing Jones right, finding my current look, making myself way better in terms of being passable. That also marked another point in my life. That was after I found that band. That was when I decided that I wanted to get better, that I wanted to get well. And it marked what I call my journey of bettering myself. Bettering myself as a person, making my life livable. And so I started, I joined this monthly group. I made friends. I mean, looking back at my life now, my life is so much better. I'm happy. I have friends. My life is full of adventure. I do things now. I'm not just this sad, sedentary thing, merely content with my life. Merely just kind of having a veil over my eyes, disguising the fact that I didn't have friends. I don't like friends, I have video games. Or, realizing that I didn't have any direction in my life. I'll just stick with this degree, I'm sure it'll work out. No, I mean, I was so blind and naive and just stupid back then. Myself today, though, for the first time in my life, I can say that I'm happy. And I mean it. I have people, I have things that I care about, things that I do. I love my life now. And it's still a really shitty life, don't get me wrong. I mean, I still work a really shit job. I mean, I want to be a writer, but there's no guarantee that's going to work out. You never know. Just gotta keep going, right? So, yeah, I'm sorry. I know this was just kind of really lame, I don't know, run through of my life, but that's what happened. That's my story. And I am gonna, go over all of that in very painful, emotional detail. That's gonna be fun. I mentioned at the start that how going far away to college and being able to think on my own. That I think was the turning point of my life, or before that actually, because when we were writing, back in high school, we were submitting our college applications. I got into exactly 2 schools. That's it. Cal Poly Pomona and Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Pomona is right here, 10 minutes from my house. It'd be safe, it'd be comfortable, it'd be familiar. I could still live at home. It'd be good, right? It's the safe option. San Luis Obispo was the scary option. It was the go live 200 miles away option. It was the be far away from home, be far away from your family. Have no friends, have nothing, just kind of, head out there and see what happens. And that's the option I picked. That, I think, is the turning point in my life. Or that was the crossroads. If I picked Pomona, I would have stayed at home. I never would have realized just how shitty my life was. How I was only content with my life. I was never happy. Going to SLO, though, thinking on my own, kind of chipping away at all these kind of mindsets that I adopted from my parents. Starting dressing, getting into this, because it really honestly felt like the universe was telling me to. That choice, do I go to Pomona or do I go to San Luis Obispo? Do I be safe and stay at home, or do I go to the scary faraway place and see what happens? And yeah, picking SLO, realizing I didn't care about this degree, and all of the shit that I dealt with afterwards, that I still kind of deal with. I mean, my whole grad school lie, that's not exposed, but a lot of people in my life still think that I have my master's. So even today, I'm still lying to people. I'm not saying that, I made the right, well, I did make the right choice, but I'm not saying that it was an easy choice. I needed to go to slow. I needed to have all this stuff happen. I needed not to have my life fall apart, because my life was already a wreck. I needed to have that veil torn away from my eyes so I can actually see where my life was. I had no one. I had nothing. I needed, as strange as it sounds, I needed the dark place. I needed all of this stuff to happen. I needed to fall to my lowest to realize I needed to change things. And I did. It took 2 years to finally be happy. Well, to finally be happier. I still slip back down every now and then. I still just feel so lonely and directionless sometimes. But, my life is what it is. It may not be, what I thought it would be. Just a typical high school, college, job, whatever else afterwards. Because I never thought about my future, ever. Like, I never thought about what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be. I just said, oh, video game designer. Computer science, yep, that's what we're gonna do. I was just so passive in my life, I just always assumed things would work out, but in the end, look what happened. I took an active control of my life for the first time ever, and things they've been rocky. I've stumbled and slipped so many times these past years. I've cried my eyes out for hours. So I'm not better. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not 100% better yet, but I am in a better place, at least. I am in a happier place. It is better. Things did get better for me. And I know it may not seem like it. It sure as hell didn't seem that way for me. But, things can work out. You may have to do what I did and actually take an active control of your life. You will slip and fall so many times. Like, the road to getting better is not easy. I'm still working through it. But, I am happy. But yeah, so that's my story. Roughly. Yeah, I'm hearing voices on the other side of the door, so I should probably get going. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, and I'll talk to you guys next week. See ya.